template or the rubric will look very similar to the previous one. Just something to keep in mind is when you guys are doing your demonstrations, make sure you're kind of keeping a checklist yourself of who completed what. I can kind of send out a table if you guys like, where I kind of put this more on a horizontal scale and you have your student's name on the left. And then you can just kind of check off what they're able to get done and kind of go from there. Works out pretty well that way. All right, that's it. Yes.
The number of questions is something that happened to me last semester. I don't know if the other GPAs, this happened to them or just be aware of, but last semester during project demos, I had a lot of students who weren't in my sections coming in here to work on the project to the point where like my students did not have a place to sit.
Yeah.
So I was planning on sending an email out to my students today, reminding them that this lab is off limits until 5:30. I don't know if you guys want to do.
I will be putting out an announcement on Brightspace as well. I've been kind of lenient on it, especially with my section, because my Thursday section is the last one of the day. There's 15 people in it, so there are quite a few benches open. But this week, we cannot be doing that. So please, and actually, would you guys prefer I lock the door out again? Would that probably help things?
Yeah, I think it might help.
Okay, I'll go ahead and lock the door out again. I'll do that at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. Well, yeah, that'll be fine. No,
Well,
we have 7:30. Nope, that's Wednesday. Okay.
Tomorrow's gonna start.
Yeah, tomorrow starts at 9:30, so I'll lock it out at 8 o'clock.
the only issue with that might be then if they're trying to come in like later at night to do it.
That's true.
So maybe we like just shut the door during our lab times.
Let's do that. Let's do that. Let's go ahead and shut the
And then
door.
we can just print up a piece of paper to put on the door.
Let's do that. That'll work out better. So, problem solved, yeah.
Are they expected to bring their own sheet? Do we print out one for everyone in us?
So the checklist that you see here, this is more, I think it's more of a reference for their side. The way I did it previously, or it's gonna be just a single spreadsheet with just a check mark where I'm gonna go through and I'm just gonna have every group listed out and I can just go through that way. That's what I'm personally gonna be doing. If you guys would prefer to have this for every single student, that's completely fine as well. I will leave that to your discretion. Yeah.
Do we have a latex template for the final report?
Yep, it's the same one as Lab 5. It should be accessible through the Lab 5. If you want to post it on Lab 14 as well, that should be fine. So, but it's the same template, right? It's the same idea. You still have your title page with an abstract, you still have your intro, you still have your procedure, you still have your theory, you still have your results and discussion, you still have your conclusion. It's all still there. Anything else? All right, well, this is technically our last formal meeting. So again, I do want to say thank you to everyone that has, all of you. Again, you guys have all made a very large difference in students' lives, whether you realize it or not. This is not, this is very rarely a student's favorite lab. And I really do thank all of you for putting in the time, putting in the effort to, again, make this course meaningful for everyone that's involved. And that really does mean a lot to me. So thank you again for everyone. Please, if you guys ever have questions or if you guys want to be TAs in the summer or fall, or, if you're graduating, you want to be a graduate teaching assistant, it's a lot of fun. There's some pretty key differences that happen between undergrad and graduate TAs, but it's kind of interesting to see both sides of the spectrum. So if that's something you're interested in doing, by all means, let me know. Or if you're taking a break and coming back at some point, you guys know where to find me. So please don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you again for everything. It really does mean a lot. Have a safe summer. Don't do anything too stupid. And I'll see a lot of you in the fall. Nathan?
Yeah, so as Ben said, pretty much today we're, in lab this upcoming week. Ideally, everyone will have their thing, completed when they walk in the door. And we're just going down the checklist and hopefully it should be very straightforward and easy. I know there are a number of people in my sections last semester who were still working on it. When they were supposed to be demoing it. So please, for all GTAs, be sure we're putting an announcement on Brightspace or something so that people know the expectation is they're gonna be demoing. The demo has to be completed this week. And then, yeah, there are a couple demo documents that have been sent out. This one, oh shoot, this one over here, was posted on Piazza, I believe, after Ben's seminar. Essentially, this is just giving all the students a little more intuition on all the specs we're going to be looking for and all the and how they can show them effectively. This will be the exact checkoff sheet we're using. You know, as Ben said earlier, sort of up to the discretion of the GTA, whether we just want to do like an Excel spreadsheet or actually paper forms for everybody. Use your best judgment of what you think would be helpful. So lots of this, also they should have just screenshots prepared, so it should be a very quick process. So just checking off the frequency response plots for each of their individual filters, as well as V-amp measurements. So they'll have a handful of frequencies for each of those, but again, we should just, if they've done a good job setting it up, we should be able to just look, and they should have the measurement over on the right-hand side, and we should just be able to read off, you know, the RMS here and there. Ripple, it's a little ambiguous how to do that one. One pretty straightforward way is to have students run a frequency response from V in to like V amp. So the output of the summing amplifier, have them find the frequency of like their maximum gain and the frequency of their minimum gain. And then they can just look at those 2 points and show, you know, the RMS values there to show that it meets spec. That's probably the most straightforward way to do it. Amplifier output power. Again, you can do that with frequency response and stuff. One thing I think is pretty straightforward way to do this is, again, on the oscilloscope, or you could even use the DMM, have them measure the RMS of the power amplifier, and then they can show that that RMS squared divided by the 8 ohm resistance of the speaker is greater than 400 milliwatts. One thing to note with this is like the power amp internally is set to have a gain of 20. So if they meet the other specifications, the power really should just fall into place. And then
Also
plot.
check the power supplies as well. Those will be outputting a voltage and a current on both positive and negative sides.
Mhm.
Do that power calculation, it should be.
And then, yeah, other plots to demonstrate the adder. There are a number of different ways they can do that. Just so long as they show their summing amplifier works, and have good logic behind it, there's really a whole wide slew of ways they could show that. And then high, medium, and low volume, essentially you're just taking the potentiometer of their summing amplifier and change it and adjusting it, and you should see, you know, when it's turned all the way up, it should be maximum, and then, you know, less and less. Again, this kind of just falls right into place with the V amp measurements, because they already have high volume and low volume. So if they just set it somewhere in the middle, that'll just give them their medium volume. And then for the crossover filters, they should run a frequency response, and we should see you should see when they run it for the low pass filter, it should be, or for the subwoofer speaker, it should have a low pass filter attached to it, and the cutoff frequency should be somewhere in the neighborhood of about 2 kilohertz. Again, there's like nothing really exactly defined there, so pretty much as long as it's a low pass with a reasonable cutoff frequency there, That's pretty good for extra credit. And then for the tweeter, it'll just be a high pass filter. So yeah, there's not really a ton here. I feel like this is hopefully all fairly straightforward. And yeah, we'll just be checking students off. As Ben said, the way this will go into their grade is this will be like their data section of the final reports grade. And essentially it's just sort of like used as a multiplier of the data section. So, you know, if people be giving people partial credit for, so check off everything that works, and if they're missing one plot, you know, then they miss like 1 out of 10 on there. So their multiplier, I think there are 10 things on there. There might be 9. But then, you know, then when we grade their data section, it'll just get a multiplier of whatever their score is on here. And this is unlike the lab practical, where when they're having you check off the answers, they could not change from that point. So say they're showing you something and it does not meet spec, you can let them know that, you know, it doesn't meet spec, or for example, if they don't know how to show the amplifier output power, you know, you can talk with them, check a few things off, and then come back and check off the rest later. It doesn't have to all be done in one go, but there will be some people who are just like top to bottom check off the whole list. And then there are some people who are not that well organized. Another thing is, even though everything can be done theoretically with screenshots, please just go double check the functionality, the overall functionality of the circuit. So like when they hook it up to the speakers, double check like the volume control works and each of the gain controls work. And then maybe just have them show you one of the measurements, you know, sort of just choose one at random, have them actually show you that one live to make sure that their their circuit does work as expected. But we do not need to be checking all these. Like, we don't need them to run all the frequency responses for us, but have them run maybe 1 or 2. And the rest we can just look at their screenshots that they hopefully have to check them off.
One big thing about the mid-pass filter, if they're using the RLC circuit, what you're gonna find is chances are their mid-pass or their mid-frequency, like their resonant frequency there, is gonna be pretty much spot on. But chances are their cutoffs are gonna be a little bit narrow, or they're gonna be a little bit wide. The reason for that is both the capacitors and the inductors both have 50% manufacturing tolerance. And frankly, the only thing that can really be done to fix the circuit or make it better is to change out the exact same capacitor and inductors. Okay, and hope that you get one with a slightly better tolerance. Okay. So if you see that they're using an RLC circuit, be a little bit generous with them. Again, you will find that if their resonant frequency is spot on, it should be right around 1100 hertz. It's probably gonna be within 2 or 3% of that. But you're gonna see your cutoffs, once they go into their higher or lower frequencies, you're gonna see it go down a little bit. So just something to keep in mind. It will probably still be able to stay within the 10% or so, but if you see it's, you know, within 15 or so, you can be a little bit more generous there. So, yeah.
Is the shop open till midnight this week and from?
Not this week, no. They're open until 5:30.
Yeah, just regular hours this
Yeah.
week. And
If you could also remember, or remind students, I did post on Piazza this morning, 82s need to get returned by May 6th. Okay, that's the Friday of finals week. So please make sure they're returning their 82s, otherwise they're gonna owe us $400. And I'm assuming they don't want to owe us $400, so.
I was gonna say, yeah, I was gonna make that point as well. So yeah, please make sure they're returning it. And then, yeah, I think that's all really for this week. Hopefully it'll be pretty quick and straightforward. Are there any questions?
Yeah, when are you gonna send out about like our meetings with you at the end?
I'll go ahead and do that after this week. If you guys can, It's kind of weird because finals week is both really stressful and very not stressful at the same time for people because they'll often have a bunch of exams and then they won't, right? Or if you're looking for just a quick half-hour break where you can just kind of vent off some steam or whatever else, those meetings work out quite well for that. So I'll be sending those out and I'll send it out later this week so you guys can reserve time for next week. Again, those will be, again, just kind of ask me how things went, what can be improved, what can I be doing better, and all that stuff. Because again, that is my job, is to make sure you guys can do your job. So that's what those meetings are for. So please sign up if you have the time and are willing to. You also get paid for it. So.
Are we doing meetings and office hours next week? Like this meeting and then office hours next week?
Yeah, no
No,
meetings,
no.
next week, and yeah, office hours will end on Friday.
This is our last meeting, and then there isn't really much need for, if you notice, or if students email, say GTAs asking for, information on the final report and stuff like that, feel free to respond if you prefer to send them to me as well. So you guys have a busy week next week as well. And you're doing the Spark Challenge? No? One? It's kind of fun. For seniors and everything else, it's a fun time. I'm actually a judge for it, so it's kind of cool.
Perfect. Yeah, Aaron, do you have anything else to add before we go? Cool.
Yep.
Perfect. Yeah, so that's all I got. Again, good luck with finals, everybody. Have a safe and enjoyable summer.
Sign with me at CA next fall, please. I'm begging you. Don't make me kiss your feet, because I will.